What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. My name is Nord Trades, and today I bring you another special video, the Sunday stock watch list, where I talk about all the stocks that I like, all the stocks that I dislike, the economic calendar, what's going on with earnings, and basically the whole nine of what I'm preparing for the week. Now, before I go ahead and get started with this video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe. I'll wait for you to do that. All right. Comment down below what other educational videos you'd like to see on this channel. As you can see, we provide as much free content as we can for you guys, and we try to do our best. Now, what stocks are you guys also watching for this week? Are you watching the same thing as me? Let's see if we have the same thing, and if not, I'll be adding things that I like from the comments to my following week's watch list. Maybe I like it, maybe I don't, and we'll see. Like, what are our thoughts? Everybody has their own opinions. Everybody trades a little bit differently, so it's always good to see what other people are watching.
I'm not sure what my affiliated broker Mumu is thinking, but they're giving my audience 30 free stocks for a qualified deposit. And let me tell you, I've never heard anybody giving 30 free stocks for a qualified deposit. So I would go take advantage of that. As you guys can see, I do use this platform every single day. It's not something that I just promote. I trade there on my live streams. I use it on my YouTube. So I know a lot of you guys always ask what platform I'm using. Well, Mumu is the platform that I'm using. And they're giving 30 free stocks. I don't know if they meant to do that. And if they did, great. If they didn't, let's take advantage before that's not a thing anymore. So click the link down below. I'll put it somewhere on the screen or in the description. And go enjoy those 30 free stocks with a qualified deposit. Because you were going to make a qualified deposit to any platform you were going to use anyway.
Also, if you didn't know, I stream every single day. So make sure you join the streams in the morning, especially if you're a trader and you don't have anything to do in the mornings. Come and take a visit. We have usually around 1,000 people watching on all platforms. So it's definitely a great vibe to speak to you guys in the morning and see what everybody else is watching. So here we are with earnings. As you guys can see, Costco is pretty much the only thing here that I can see at the end of the week. You know, you have BlackBerry for all my degenerates, and then CarMax, and then that was Thursday. Wednesday, Micron is probably the biggest stock reporting this week, other than Costco. But Micron Technology will be a very big one. You'll see things like NVIDIA move on their earnings, AMD. MU, if you didn't know, was also one of the first stocks I've ever traded, probably, or even maybe the first stock I've ever traded. And my first biggest day was on Micron Technology. Everybody kind of knows that story now about how much I made on that. But Micron is definitely something that does move on earnings, that does give you an insight on what's going on in the chip industry. So it's very important to pay attention to that stock. So let's go ahead and talk about my watch list. Now, there are a few things that I'm watching. But I'm going to keep it very short and simple and kind of consolidate it to the top 3 that I'm watching this week, kind of what's closest. As the week goes on, just because I'm looking at the upside doesn't mean I'm bullish on the week. It just means this is the play I'm currently looking at, and I'm going to take advantage of that upside. Now, tomorrow, I might see an opportunity on the downside. That doesn't mean I'm bearish. That just means I see an opportunity there. So I just hope you guys understand when I make these watch lists, it's not based on being bullish, being biased, being bearish. None of that. It's top 3 plays that I'm watching for this week, and throughout the week things change. That's why the live streams are so important to pay attention to. And let's just go ahead and get started here. So the first thing that I'm watching is Tesla. You guessed it. Now let's go on the 4-hour. You'll see exactly why I'm watching it. We tried to break out of this trend on the 4-hour on the top side. We ended up doing it. We couldn't hold on Friday. We came right back into it. Now, what are we going to do here? Well, we kind of have no choice but to wait here until that 245. So I am watching that 245 to the upside. As you can see, that's just not the best candle. We're also filling that gap, or we pretty much filled the whole gap because the gap's still 245. So I'm watching to see if we even get back there this week. And if we do, I will look to take advantage as long as it's showing strength against the market. If the whole market's ripping and, you know, you have Tesla coming into 245, I'm most likely going to skip it. That's kind of how I play this game. So yeah, that's Tesla. Very simple understanding of the main stock that I'm always kind of watching anyways. The next stock that I'm watching this week is Meta. This held up, probably one of the best stocks that held up. As far as, you know, that pullback we had in the market when everything came down, everybody was scared. Meta was holding up very well. It did slip slightly towards the end, But for the most part, at the beginning, it was holding very, very steadily in that, 500 range. And it was very surprising to me. We just created an all-time high on Friday. I did end up taking advantage of that. As you can see, if I lower it to the 1 hour, you could see, just boom. Thursday, this goes from freaking, what did this close at? From Wednesday. Wednesday, 537. This thing opens at 550, pushes a high of 560. Friday, we hit a 564 high. It's been on an absolute tear. Now, you're going to ask me, how do we judge, how much a stock is going to move? It's at all-time highs. There's no previous history here. So how do I do this, and how do I go about playing something like Meta? Now, I base it off tape, for one. Do I see the strength there? Do I see divergence? I'm going to look at times and sales. Are they attacking the ask, or are they just buying at the bid or wherever in the middle, and they're negotiating that price? Also, I'm going to be watching volume, right? That's also very important. Now, what else am I looking at so I can judge how much room this can possibly have? Now, I'm going to go back to older times and see what usually happens when it continues to make new highs over and over. Does it break by $3, $4, $5? Does it have a big day? Does it consolidate? Does it pull back? Those are all things that come into play when I'm watching, a stock that's making all-time highs. There's technically no history there. There's no volume profile. There has not been any transactions that's happened in that area in the past because it's brand new. Like, you have to understand those things and say, okay, how do I come to conclusion of how much is this going to move? So that's one thing that I'm watching on Meta. So right now the high is 564.50. Now, I don't want to just play the new high and all that. I want to go, okay, what's the psychological levels for Meta? Where is that? Every $2.50? Is it every $5? Oh, okay, it's mostly every $5, 560, 565, 570, 575. Okay, that's one. Two, when it makes all-time highs, how much does it usually move? Now, let's take a look here. This is the previous high. Actually, let's go back to this. This was the previous high of 530. This ends up pushing to what, 543. So it's usually a $10 move. Now, the previous high was 543. Now we're at 564. So this is a little different, right? So all those things come into play. So what I'm going to be basing Meta off of is psychological levels, how much it's moved in previous history, and I'm going to base it off divergence I get from the market. Is it showing me real strength, or is it just moving with the market, or is it just weak, right? Is it showing me signs of rejection? It doesn't want to continue higher. But now we're above this trend on the 1 year, which is very, very good, right? Especially if you're a bullish player on this. But we do have another trend to worry about. It is on the 4 hour. We tried to handle this and close above on the 4 hour on Friday. We didn't get to, so I'm going to be looking to see where do we open here on Monday. And I'm hoping we open above the trend so I can see if we're going to come right below that trend, or we're going to hold above for the first 30 minutes of the market, first hour, whatever the case may be. So I'll be watching Meta. It's more of a judge the play as it happens, right? And that's why the live streams are so important. So I'm watching 565. Target would probably be 567.50 and then 570, but all that changes, right? You can have a risk to reward. Everybody has their set risk to reward before getting into a trade. Now, obviously, as a new trader, you want to have a very strict risk tolerance, right? And it's like, okay, 10% stop is your stop. Okay, 10% is your stop. But if you're in the trade and your pre-setup was a 3-to-1 reward or whatever the case may be, and it's not showing you those signs while you're in the trade, you have to make those adjustments while you're in the trade. Just because you had it, at 3-to-1 before you got into the trade doesn't mean it has to stay at 3-to-1. I get it. You do want to follow your targets, follow your setups, but if it's giving you red flags, you have to be able to walk away from that trade. And that's going to be that meta trade. I gave you guys a little lesson for the Sunday stock watch list, which is new. And then the last trade here is very rare. I will be honest. I used to play this a lot when things were pretty crazy on the stock. So this is going to be a first time and forever thing before you guys see me, before the last time you guys see me even talk about this. Now, why am I watching this? It's looking good to the downside. This stock is weak. Friday was one of the weakest stocks, or the weakest stock on my watch list, which is insane, especially seeing what the market did on Friday. We were down 3.2% on the stock. I'm watching the 107 to this 107 for the downside. Now, a lot of you will be watching and be like, hey, why wouldn't you just buy it, right? The bounce. Well, it's showing me straight weakness. I'm not seeing it, consolidate. Market was up. The stock was down pretty badly. So what I'm going to do is watch 107 to the downside. And there is an issue with this or trying to trade this stock. And the issue, I believe, I would say is the spread for one on the contracts, and two, the liquidity in those contracts. So that's why you usually get the wide spreads. But I think this week, if we can get that move ahead of time, I don't want this to drop from 110 straight down to 107. I kind of want to see what's going on, where it ends up closing on Monday. I'd rather this happen on Tuesday, it's set up on Monday, and go from there. But I think I'll be able to take advantage of it. I looked at it for this last week. It's not that bad. It is pretty bad compared to things like we're used to, like Tesla, Nvidia, things like that. But I think it's something that we can work with, and those are my top 3 plays for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you hit a like button, subscribe, comment down below, turn the alerts on, and go to my main channel because I also uploaded there. I'll see you guys. Peace.